Hey y'all, welcome to Other Realm Studio. I'm Paula, and this is one of my art commissions that's uh, pretty close to done. I do want to go ahead and redo this girl up front. I do like the looseness of the sketch that we started out with, but um, my proportions are a little bit off. So I thought I would use some of the advantages of Clip Studio Paint and pop a 3D model on. And put her somewhere she looks realistic. So let's see. And I've got another outfit for her to be wearing. I have a reference picture for that. So let's get her started. If I'm okay, this is my new drawing layer, and I was going to use the blue pen again. So earlier today I had a little bit of a panic. Power blinked. It was a nice solid blink. And I was kind of worried that my settings would disappear again. But no. Power blinks are not nearly as bad as just trying to update Windows. Okay, so I used the running pose reference, and I adjusted it a little bit. And this is really nice to quickly and easily get realistic proportions going. And of course, I can adjust them as we go. Like, there's no reason for this back foot to be this size. I think I can exaggerate some of the proportions a bit more. Okay, so here she is. Now let me zoom in. And so now I'm gonna give her a girlier, more dramatic silhouette. And make some small minor adjustments. Okay, so there's been a lot of talk recently, or, over the last 10 years recently, about the culture. Like, what happened to the culture? Why is there no longer a common culture? And why is everything on TV depressing? Well, okay, I might be the only one asking that one. But I think that everything on TV is depressing. And the stories are very predictable and not in a good, satisfying way, sort of predictable. I don't know if I've just studied too much about story structure and now there are no surprises left for me, or if people are just not trying very hard anymore to create new and compelling stories. Like just today, I saw uh, a tweet from Jim Steranko talking about, he was going through all the new comic books and nothing is new and different and compelling. No kidding. And there's some blame to be placed somewhere, I'm sure. But we're in the middle of a cultural crisis here. We don't need blame. We need solutions. We need good stories. And I've seen a lot of people declaring that, well, science fiction should be this and stories should be that, and the purpose of this is to like usher in the bright new tomorrow that's in the future if we can just uh, convince everyone to be communists and eat bugs. um, let's see. Okay, if she's going to be wearing a skirt and it's going to be an A-line skirt here, how much can she run? Hang on while I try and reconcile um, my reference picture with my pose here. So I do think that fiction has a purpose. It's not for just writers to write whatever they feel like and throw it out in the world and expect accolades. Uh, no, there really is a purpose for fiction, and it's something that's being overlooked. So I was trying to work out what exactly is it, because I know it's not to sell us all on communism. And so there are a lot of people who also say that fiction has no purpose except to be entertaining. And okay, that's a good start. Because if fiction, being something that you read for fun, since it's not strictly speaking instructional, it needs to be entertaining. But you can't just have any random craziness. in your fiction, it has to be satisfying as well, which is something I've been fighting for in my own book. So I have a superhero novel that I've just edited the latest draft of, and I'm waiting to hear back on that, and I'm pretty excited. I think it's getting close. How short should this skirt be? Huh. So it has to be entertaining, and in order to be remembered and, worth reading the first and the second time, even, it should be satisfying. And I think that the satisfaction in a story is where we're going to find the purpose of fiction and what we should be aiming for as we, create the elements of our culture. We need some new ones. I'm really tired of the same reboots and rehashing those over and over again. Everybody's tired of the reboots. I have not heard anyone say, you know what we really need? Another reboot. No, no, I hear the opposite. So we need to start creating new, better fiction. And what's it going to be like? Well, we've got to work out what's it going to be for. I'm pretty sure it's not going to usher in the bright, shining new tomorrow where we all deny our own nature and share with absolutely everybody and expect not to die. And, expect everything to be perfectly fair and wonderful. Yeah, humans are not that way. I'm really sorry about it. Ankles, ankles are just really difficult. I'm going to have to rebuild the whole idea of this foot. Break the ankle here and do the wedge and the arch and all that, and probably zoom way in on it as well. It's really hard to draw flats. And you can kind of fudge things a little bit when you're drawing like sneakers because the shoe itself has some bulk. But for some reason, drawing someone running in flats, it's still not right. Closer. I'll come back to it. So yeah, I'm working on a blog post about, what can we do, what kind of stories we should be making, what they should be about, what purpose they should drive to. And I think that I have arrived at what the purpose that fictional stories serve. The old series of inspire or educate or entertain in any writing, but we need to be more specific than that. So how can our fiction inspire and educate and entertain without turning into a preachy mess? And I think that what we need is order and sense and, reason. And that's even in the really out there speculative genres like science fiction and fantasy. I swear this skirt is way too short. This is not a length that skirts come in. So let me see, where was I? See, I don't want her chin to go too square. So there have been a lot of experiments in fiction writing, stream of consciousness, deconstruction, um, subversion, and yeah, a, a lot of unsuspecting English majors still get roped into reading them and attempting to make sense out of them. there's not that many who reread them, for enjoyment, I don't think. And it's kind of hard for the literary works to actually, stay in your mind aside from, a few shocking scenes. And usually that's all they really have going for them. They're subversive and shocking. That's literary now. That it hasn't done anything for the culture as a whole. You have to be studying this in, you know, honors high school or in college. It doesn't do much for everybody who's outside of school, who's already graduated. There's no cultural touchstones anymore. And when I write the blog post, well, I'm going to be linking to a lot of people that I've been reading recently who've, gone into the cultural touchstones issue in a lot more detail. There's no more family TV. And I know that because I've been trying to find things that I can watch with my children. There's not a lot. We're watching, various YouTubers. Which, I guess nothing against YouTube, but you would think that a family as ordinary as ours, that would be a demographic that, mainstream TV would be looking to cater to. It's not. Okay, so I'm going to need another layer. What's this? Oh yeah, that was when I was first sketching out the house. We'll do a new layer and move into black line art. So yeah, even something like science fiction and fantasy where what you really want is something new and different to read. And those are my favorite genres to read because I do like possibilities in fiction, and I do like learning new concepts and thinking about things in different ways. Even though science fiction is not really science, yeah, that's fine. That's not what I'm reading it for. This is a little bit of a tricky part here. So I do like to, I like to read different things. So mostly I like science fiction and fantasy. It allows more room than stuff that's too concerned with being realistic. So it's not realism that makes stories satisfying. I mean, there's a point where verisimilitude is something that you're kind of going for, but it doesn't have to be realism. I mean, you're reading fiction and not nonfiction for a reason. So I think that the highs and lows of the narrative arc, whether it's a character arc or a plot arc or both, I think that is something that we crave as humans. We need that, and we need the resolution to not be a cheat. We need to be assured that there's a satisfying ending. Say, I'm not at all sure that I'm happy with her face. But I'll adjust that later if I need to. So yeah, the arc in the story. You follow the whole thing through. You get your highs, your lows, your surprises. At least we hope we have surprises left. And in the end, you get a satisfying ending known as catharsis. And what leads to catharsis is that sense of order and things have turned out right. I'm still not at all sure about this hemline. Yeah, she's not either. So, I think what it comes back to is human nature. Stories that are written for humans will have that element of catharsis in them. And they won't be experimental or nihilist or sometimes there ain't no justice or, random nonsense that's put together in a very pretty way. They're going to have that element of chaos resolving into order. Now, where else have we seen something like that? I'll tell you in just a second after I get the ankle done. Right. Chaos resolves into order in the beginning of Genesis. That's creation. Chaos resolving into order. And I think that at a very basic, intrinsic level, like down deep in our souls, we know this. And as we are in the image of God, we are compelled to recreate it on our own tiny scale, our own chaos, resolving into order. And so it's satisfying for us to see where, even though the entire world is an immensely, the entire world and all of creation is an immensely complicated story, and we can't really comprehend all of it. It's satisfying to see our own miniature stories worked out and resolved. And that is what fiction is for. So that when we create, we have the ability to resolve our small chaotic worlds that we create in a satisfying way. All right, I'm coming close to the end of my time tonight. Oh, and hello, Master Tyler, sir. Sorry, I had to scoot that down where I could see it better. It's getting a little late in the day. My eyes are tired. Well, let's see. I am finishing up a commission. There's this very cool Gothic house in the background. And I can't just talk about nothing. So I decided to put my English degree to good use and talk about trends in literature and the purpose of fiction. I was really concentrating on this really tiny work here, so I have no idea when you commented. Alright, let's put the house back in. Oh yeah, yeah, she's a little see-through. Still. Well, so far so good. Let's put that back, and maybe we can backfill with a little bit of white. Oops. So I'm not quite ready to consolidate my layers. So I'm not going to be erasing any of my house yet. I need to let my client see it first, in case I need to move this girl around. But yeah, overall I think I'm doing alright. I was kind of hoping I would get a few more done. Let's see, not that one. Like I've got this digital painting to work on, and it needs a lot of work. Lots of work. But I am very proud of the shadow here. It's turning out really good. And this one's nearly done. I'm still working on the textures. And this one's nearly done. But it's time for me to go. So, let me see. Yeah, here's my YouTube channel. Here is my website. This is otherrealmstudio.com, and you can take a look at my portfolio, and I also have a newsletter. I'm available for commissions, and I've also published my first comic. This is issue 1 of Soulbound, which is it's an epic fantasy about Becca, who's a pragmatic med student with enough of her own problems, but then she falls through a portal to another world of magic, myth, monsters, and magic. And yeah, so this is really just I've structured it rather like episodes. It's really just issue 1. It's the first chapter of a 10-issue arc, and we'll be working on issue 2 shortly. And it's also available on Amazon for Kindle. But if you order from my website, you can get a printed copy shipped to your own home, and at Amazon if you'd rather read it on your Kindle or uh, whatever device reads Kindle ebooks for you. You can just look it up there, Soulbound issue 1, Adrift. I'm the writer, and Mia Pierce is the illustrator. So I'd appreciate it if you'd stop by and take a look and see if this is something you'd like to read. I'm really proud of this. This is a really good, solid story, the kind of thing that I've been looking for, and finally I decided to write it. And really, I couldn't be happier. It's turning out wonderful. So stop by, take a look. Let me know what you think. And that's going to be it for tonight. But thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the other realm. Good night.